Okay, so we will start to look at this BA demo. What you see right here in front of you is the login screen. So if you have not registered yet, you would click on this new user registration. I'm not going to go through all of that, but you just follow a couple of screens, a couple of steps. You set up your account. And again, if you have not had the opportunity to use the system lately, we recommend that you do. I am going to use for the demonstration a participant we call Clergy 5. This is real-time system, so there may be some instances where there's a bit of a pause now and again. We do hope not. We're moving along. Yeah, you can see here that with individuals, what they're involved in, retirement, life, disability, if somebody's in health flex, that kind of thing, you may see that here. But really what we're just looking to do now is we're looking at retirement. This screen also may look familiar to you. We're going to come over to accounts. We're going to start at account summary. Before I go into the retirement stuff, there's a few things to point out here. And Cheryl, help me out here relative to screen size. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here as we just get started.
Yes, that looks much better, being able to see it a little bit bigger. Okay. Thank you.
Once we receive your intends to retire date, this graphic right here becomes available to you. You see this on your account summary screen. Momentarily, we're going to click on this risk and manage your retirement benefits. That's where you're going to go to make your benefit elections. For those of us who do not have an intends to retire date on the system yet, because we're not going to be retiring anytime soon, for me anyway, we do not see this particular graphic and do not have that link. Here you can get a summary of your account balances. This is totally inclusive of NPP, the 65% to 35%, your CRISP DC account as it may be, your UMPIP account as it may be. And then this is a blend of how all of these are allocated, right? So if you're in life stage investment management, you have one allocation set for NPP, another allocation set for the CRISP DC and the UMPIP. Okay, this kind of blends it, and I'll show you a screen for that momentarily. And for those, you can see as of today how much service time you have in these time periods. 7 is a fixed number, 07 to 13. As of right now, 2014 plus, it's 9.1, but by July 1st, it'll be 9.5. And for our model here, this individual has some pre-82. If you're thinking about, what am I doing right now relative to UMPIP and my retirement contributions, you can come to summary. Sorry, I did that. Summary, sorry, I did that fast. Retirement contributions. And simply here, you can see different information that you have in terms of account balances and all, but what I wanted to point out here is here. You can see this individual is doing 3% before tax, so you can just validate where you are in these last months of your ministry. Investment summary. Again, this is where we can find out how your accounts are allocated. This first screen here, which I'm going to make bigger, is again that blend of all of your accounts. But here, just have to move this a little bit further. Here you can see the ministerial pension plan account and what funds we're using for this individual's account. You can see that here is the fixed income funds, these three here, pretty good number of what's in there, and then the equity, what's here. Again, MPP, designed to provide for your employer retirement benefits in the form of lifetime income at 65%. But the defined contribution account, the DC and the UMPIP, this individual is in life stage investment management, their allocation relative to where they are now, less going into the three income funds, more in the equity funds. Here we're okay with that extra risk, that extra equity, get that extra return, but we are still building up these numbers relative to the income side. If you're curious to know, with my life stage profile, am I conservative, moderate, aggressive? You can click here and we'll bring you over to the profile page. And this individual has a moderate risk tolerance. Not gonna go too far here, but if you want to change it online, you can change it online. Any changes you make online will be effective not the next day, but at that quarterly time, based on your birthday, that we look at your account and we'll see, oh, a request was made for a different risk tolerance, and we will go ahead and take advantage of that at that point in time and reallocate your balances. For those of you who are not, again, still not quite sure on life stage investment management, on your quarterly statements that you receive, you may see transfers amongst your investment funds. That's what's happening behind the scenes. You didn't do that, but we're doing it. Here you can see under the account area, we have the ability for you to run your own retirement benefits projection. And I'm not going to get into that now, but you have that. But here, beneficiaries. Under distributions, beneficiaries. Under your profile, beneficiaries. But here you can manage your beneficiaries. So in clicking on it here, this is a very simple example. We have Clergy 5. We're going to see that the primary is the spouse. Okay? But for secondary, there is a secondary. For secondary, you can add there. More importantly, it's not so much about adding, it's about just taking a look to see how you have them set up. If you want to make any changes, you can make them online, call up Participant Solutions area, work with them, get a form, what have you, to make those beneficiary designations up to date. There's all kinds of information that you can receive here. We have sidebars that have, like right here, sidebars that have information that you can go get PDFs or just other screens with information for you. It's topical, so if we're in a contribution area, it's going to be about contributions. Here, it's going to be about the plans and the benefits provided. So now we're back to looking at the man with the glasses. We're going to click on the review and start making elections. Here is the first screen that you see. We do a graphical representation of what could be received, maximizing benefit elections at the time you're making your elections. Right now, you have that CRISP DB amount that's coming out as an annuity. This person has the MPP annuity, and this individual has pre-82 time. So this is an estimate of what could be provided as an annuity. Then we have the account balances. Here, again, assuming life stage retirement income, but this is the amount that we're saying using that MPP 35%, the CRISP DC, the UMPIP, what we can derive from that, and then what that monthly amount might look like. And then we break things down by plan and by benefit type. So here we have the 3 lifetime income for this individual. There's a clergy retirement security program, CRISP DB area, defined benefit area, then the ministerial pension plan, and then the pre-82, okay? One thing I neglected to mention when I was going through the annuity types, for the CRSP 2007 to 2013, if you're married, that waiver and consent is not available for the single life annuity, but it is for the 2014 plus, and you'll see that on the screen momentarily. You will and can elect how you want the annuity to come to you. The lifetime income annuity come to you, the CRSP, do a separate election for the MPP, and then with the pre-82, it's more straightforward because it's just going to work through and make the determination and provide a life in 70, depending upon the account balance using it or the formula benefit that we review. And then we'll come back here to life stage retirement income and start taking a look at some of those screens. As we get through this right now, a lot of the screens are going to look similar as we move along. So for today, we're looking at July 1st, first payment date. We just click on that. I don't know why it doesn't default when we have the intends to retire. Here, this individual is married. So we want the individual to look at the information that's provided and say, I verify that the above information is correct, and I will designate my spouse as my contingent annuity. Again, farther downstream, if somebody wants to do this waiver and consent thing and get a single life in the second tranche, you would just click on that there. But simplicity's sake, the information looks good, and the spouse will be the contingent annuitant. And then here, you can see what the calculated amount of monthly income would be under the life and survivorship annuity and what the survivorship amount would be. Normal form of benefit, life in 70, that's why it's highlighted right now, but you can simply click on what they call a radio button and go with that, go with that. But for sake of today, we'll stick with the life in 70. And you can see those amounts. But here, Has to be a survivorship annuity. Here, for the second tranche, that 1/1/2014 through now, you actually do have the single life here. Again, waiver of consent form, but for simplicity's sake, you have the 3 survivorship annuities, 70, 85, 100. Normal form, life and 70 is selected. Now what I'm going to do is come down here. As I indicated, the CRSP, you have to have a 2% COLA, but it can be 3%, 4%, or 5%. You want to see, hey, what would that 4% COLA look like if I chose that? We automatically reduce the amount that you see as the amount payable to you and the amount payable to the surviving spouse and contingent annuitant when you just go from a 2 to a 4, 4 to a 5. Okay, so you can see that and what the impact is, just as you're getting used to this, modeling this, again, working with others, but you can see what the impact is on that right away, knowing the higher the COLA later on, the more benefit that you receive. But we're all right here. We have life and 70, 2% COLA. We're then going to come to the next screen, okay? This is the tax withholding screen. Full disclosure, this is brand new. This was only rolled out to us a week or maybe 2 ago. Last week I was out of the country, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. So what has happened is the current law or registration regulation has said that as individuals are determining how much tax withholding they want, the IRS now is looking for more information, not simply, am I single, am I married, filing jointly, 3 dependents. There has to be a breakdown of more potentially more information depending upon the election that you're going to make for your federal tax withholding. It may apply in Tennessee for Tennessee's tax withholding. This is where we have to kind of say, go speak to your accountant, your tax preparer, share this information with them. It's the W-4 form that was just put out. It's a new one, so they should have that, and we just mimic that to put it out here. So what we have here is, how do you want to make the election? Single or married, married filing jointly, head of household, which is that interim period that you have. For simplicity's sake, we started by saying we're not going to withhold the federal income taxes, but here you can see that if you wanted to do single or married filing jointly, or qualifying surviving spouse, head of household, this is where you would make the election. Then it breaks down into other forms of income that you may be receiving. How many dependents are you going to have? Do you have any other tax exposure that you may have, but you want us to actually deal with that tax withholding through your annuity payments, your income payment, or here your annuity payments relative to that. So, I'm not trying to dodge, but this has definitely got more complicated on us as well. But this is where you would actually outline all of that. Again, please go speak to your tax preparer as you're preparing for this. But for simplicity's sake, we'll just leave it as no federal tax withholding right now. And I will say that this is, in fact, a common election, because with that housing allowance tax exclusion, certain clergy will go and then figure it out for refund purposes. Other clergy have told me that they're going to actually let a year or 2 go by without it and figure out what's happening with housing allowance and their eventual tax exposure. So there actually is some thinking on both sides of it. Then we continue. Okay. Like I said, real time. Let's see if we can't get back to this. Okay. Continue. All right. The next screen, and you can see 5 of 7. So here's the 7 screen to go through each one. This really is the last data input. This is pre-filled. It's the banking information. We're going to do direct deposits through EFT into the bank account that you designate. That's the bank, is it checking, is it saving, what's the account number, those types of things. Here it's pre-filled because we use Clergy 5 frequently. The first time you see this, there may be nothing in it. So you go to a check that you have, you can find the transit routing number. Here's the first number, and then the second number is your account number. That third number is the actual check number that you're looking at. So you have that there, you fill this in, phone number is optional, and we move on. Good news is the tax withholding and the banking information, that stays as it is on record as you go through your other benefit election options. So you would see, you put it in the first time, then you go to NPP, it's going to be there pre-filled for you. Then we continue. And we just want you to review everything. And as you're reviewing everything and you're understanding everything and you're validating everything, we want you to confirm that you have done so. So right now, it's like a gray blue. As soon as you do that, it'll lighten up to be pure blue. Then you can submit it. And the transaction has been created. This is a confirmation. You can print this off. It'll come to you in an email. We have a good email address for you on file. And then you can say, I'm done with this particular one, and I want to review additional retirement benefit elections. Okay, so you can see that the CRSP-DB is now pending on the screen. You still can get started on your MPP annuity, the pre-82. But what I want to show you is from two spots, distributions, pending actions, accounts, pending actions, right? It probably makes more sense on the distributions considering what we're talking about. Pending actions. That transaction that we just generated right now is in the pending file. This is what gets picked up the evening of June 30th into July 1st to do all the processing. But again, you did this in May, June, something else happens and the market starts to change. Maybe not your CRSP-DB because it's a fixed annuity, it's a calculated amount. But let's pretend this is the MPP. You know what? You're going to wait because of what's happening in the markets. You just cancel it. And we're going to confirm this is what you want to do. Come down here. Yep, this is what I want to do. Now you have no pending transactions. We come back to the election screen, the initial election screen, and you can see that that word pending is gone and you get started again on that annuity. Very quickly, I'll just go through the MPP just to show you the similarity really that, once you start to get into it, you can see that. You want the MPP annuity, we're going to get started on that. Again, I wish it was July 1st, July 1st. Validating again. Verifying the spousal information, you're going to designate. These are the annuity options that you have for MPP. If you're married, you can get that single life if you so choose, but hit the 3 survivorship again. You can see the amount, and then let's say you want to do 0. You can see the numbers go up, right? Let's say you want to do 4. You can see the numbers go down, survivorship amount goes down, but again, over time, on a compounding basis, you can get a greater benefit down the road. So, similar to what you saw with the CRSP. And this is where, again, you can make one election for the CRSP-DB and a different election for your MPP. But for sake of simplicity, we'll just continue. Okay, the tax withholding, it has that for CRSP. We decided not to withhold at this point in time, so we have that saved. Bank of America information. So if I continue on, we're going to validate it. We're going to click on that box. We're going to submit it, and then a transaction would go to the pending file. So when you get through all of this, that is what you will see. And again, if you want to cancel, you can. And then I'll just do an introduction to the life stage retirement income screens. Certainly a program that you and through EY, benefit education consultations and other events, continue, and the material you receive, continue to learn about and think through, because there are certain complexities to it to some extent. So here we have the life stage retirement income screen. It doesn't seem to be appearing here, but there's a 4-minute video overview of the program provided by our boss, Martin Bauer. You may have come across Martin in other things, but you get that, and you want to say, all right, I listened to that, and now I want to get started. What you're seeing here is the first one is your Social Security estimate. So as I indicated, you've got this amount of money now all in you on PIP. You want to use life stage retirement income. We go through the goalpost process. We come up with the payment safety zone. That's an amount. Then you say, I'm going to do this deferral from my full retirement age to age 70, could be 69, and get some increases in my Social Security. But that, in this example, that $2,200, that $2,200, I still need, right? I still need to make my bills. So I'm going to use that out of the account balances that I have. So I've updated this for the $2,200 that I would otherwise have received, but I am deferring. Then we have the amount that's available for the Life Stage Retirement Income Program relative to the overall amount that you want to apply to the program. For our Clergy 5 person here, this is everything they have. 475, 475.52. But as I said, you could put some off to the side as a reserve fund, whatever the case may be, and say, you know what? I only want 425, excuse me, I only want 425 in here, because I want that other 50 for other purposes. And we can do that, and then you can see there's an automatic recalculation of what you can expect to receive from the program overall. We still have the $2,200, the as-if Social Security amount, then you have this amount here, okay? Social Security bridge, again, we've kind of talked about that. You have that $2,200 that you've identified. Here, you want to use the life stage funds as the bridge. You could say, I don't, but you might as well, you're giving us that $2,200. But your planning is such that you're not going to wait all the way to 70, you're going to go to 69. What does that look like relative to the amount you're going to receive now if you pull that back? And that's what you can see just by moving this little arrow from 69 to 70. So again, it's a lot to kind of put at you here in terms of this is where you go on, take a look at it, work with the BEs, work with EY, work with others, retirement team to continue to flush this out. And then there's the longevity income protection contract, okay? Now again, there's a lot of layering that's going on here. So we can see that this individual has a good deal of lifetime income coming their way. So what we're saying here is you don't necessarily need to take advantage of, well, it's a QLAC, technically a QLAC, the Longevity Income Protection Contract. QLAC stands for Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract, you know, IRS thing. You could say, you know what, do not include, it says I don't need it, I don't. Now you can see what you're gonna get from 61, age 61, just through life stage, boom, at 70, you get your Social Security, we're leveling this off, and then that continues through time. But you say, you know what, I do want to include it. And we've calculated that you can use $27,000 of that amount that's available to you to purchase a longevity income protection contract. As I indicated, it begins to pay at age 80. Now we can see there's your Social Security, there's the longevity income, and there's life stage, and it's leveled off even more. So we're kind of keeping you whole overall in the program with all the sources that you have and getting those increases over time, but we're using less and less of your actual account balances for that sustainability to last through your retirement. And so these are the screens that you can then continue to look at and model to see how that would look, right? So at age 70, we can see that your Social Security amount, starting in here at age 80, it's that. The longevity income protection, well, you're not getting anything here, you're not getting anything here. At age 80, that's what we've calculated the amount to be on a monthly basis. We're starting you out, I'm not quite sure why 61, but we're starting you out at $31.94, then we're reducing it down to $580. But again, you're whole. And then this kicks in at age 80, we're reducing it down again, and you're whole. But remember, we're reducing it down relative to the overall picture, but each year we do the recalculation, and that core amount will continue to go up as the markets allow over time. So that is an overview of benefit access, the demonstration. Again, coming back, you want to see that you have the graphic, the man with the glasses, as we say. You review and manage. You can start to make your benefit elections through these buttons and these screens that follow. Again, the tax withholding thing is kind of a new curveball that we just received. So as we learn about it, you want to make sure you understand and get your tax preparer understands it as well. You can make your elections. There is the pending file if things change from the time you make your election to 6/30 of that year. And this is not, solely for benefit elections, although certainly that's what we're talking about, but you can always look at other aspects of your account. You can even do transaction history. You can get a download of transaction history if you're just curious about contributions over a period of time, that kind of thing. So with that, Cheryl, it concludes this portion of the webinar, and I guess the webinar itself, I'll come back on screen. I don't know if there's been any questions. And we grant you that this is a lot, and the resources are there. Certainly, WeBe's for the consultations. EY is very familiar. They're completely familiar with our plans, housing allowance, all the taxes that go into that, as well as the Life Stage Retirement Income Program, Life Stage Investment Management Program. So I don't know if any questions came in, Cheryl, or?
We did get one
Okay.
that came in, and just is basically, please share how I let Wespath know my plan for retirement so that the man with the glasses is seen on my benefits access page.
For the man with the glasses to be on the benefit access page, then we have to have the intends to retire date, okay? Which means you are, just for our purposes today, 7/1/23, that is when you're going to retire. Now, I know for today, it was kind of the focus was the current retiree class, but I think other people were included and invited to come along. So that individual may be asking questions a couple few years out, but the intends to retire date coming from the annual conference. But what I will say is, for the Life Stage Retirement Income Calculator, those screens I just showed you specifically to Life Stage Retirement Income, Social Security Bridge, Longevity Income Protection, as long as we have your eligible to retire date, which means you've satisfied the criteria under the Book of Discipline for early retirement or normal retirement, you can start to actually take a look at Life Stage Retirement Income, start to model that and get a better feel for the options and the consequences of those options.
Of course. Also, Julie wanted to know what's the phone number that they can call with questions. So that would be our customer service department number. And
yes, and that's 800-851-2201, if I got that right off the top of my head.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, and that's and again, this slide deck is going to be provided. That number is probably on every piece of material that you have, but this slide deck will be provided. That last slide that I reviewed had that phone number on there too. So
yes. As well as a copy of the recordings for both of these. There'll be 2 recording links out there, so you can go through the presentation as well as the recording, because yes, it is a lot of information, and I would probably go through it multiple times also, and also maybe with a spouse as well.
Yep. So probably Monday, by the time we get it back from our, I guess, communications media folks, the recordings will be provided. Again, PDFs of all the materials, including this presentation deck, is a PDF. PowerPoint's too big to send. We'll make it a PDF. The benefit education consultation link, and whatever I may be forgetting right now, what Julie requests subsequent to today's webinar. We'll be sure to get that out to you. Okay. So I think with that, that concludes today's webinar. Again, we are always available to you for questions. Please feel free to contact us, contact Participant Solutions, or come back to us directly with any questions that you have. Enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy your weekend, and we look forward to seeing you and meeting you again in the future. Thank you very much.
All right, take care, everyone.